So David was consulting at the time and we got to know each other quite well. And I sort of proposed to David, should we look at a model where he could come on board into ERoad? And as we talked about it, we talked about this co-CEO model. He was really excited by the opportunity. He could see the prospects ERoad has, in terms of growth, in terms of delivering for our customers and how he could help on that journey.
What Motify is it's a platform that helps everyday drivers get trusted car help and connect with vetted auto service providers. I've kind of got the finance background, Xavier's got a great background with cars in the automotive space, and Jai's come from a project management background. And it just fits really well.
I'm Sonia Williams. I'm one of the co-founders and co-CEOs at Sharesies. And Sharesies, we're a wealth app. We set out to create financial empowerment for everyone by making it more easy to invest. So 6 of us started Sharesies, and what really brought us all together was this idea that we wanted to create financial empowerment for everyone.
I was really disgruntled, feeding my cat sort of gross jelly meat, thinking this isn't sustainable and the packaging's certainly not sustainable. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there's a better option for a sustainable food product for my cat? I liken to having co-founders as being in a marriage. It's a really intense relationship, and I've had great success having people beside me to come on the journey.
I think what's really kind of matured in all 3 of us over the time of doing this is, our work ethic and especially our ability to work together and to help each other out and overcome internal team hurdles. What it really comes down to is our different skill sets, and like I said before, there's some really good synergies there. There's also times where, potentially one of us might need to, give the reins to someone else, depending on, what's going on at the moment, where the need is and what their skill set is. I think it's a really tough balance between, assigning someone a role that's specific to one thing, especially when there's so much going on. I think you just have to be really flexible, and you have to communicate well with your team to make sure that, whatever's getting done is moving you towards the end goal.
I'm really proud of the way that we as a team have connected. You've got to have a really high level of trust. You've got to be vulnerable and, sometimes, give feedback. Nobody likes to hear feedback sometimes, but we've managed to create a really cool feedback culture where we're safe to give each other feedback, be supportive of each other, and as a consequence, we've built really deep trust. And, we are connected and we are strong and united and, ready to go to battle, together. I've got my people beside me.
When you come across 6 people, women in the mix, I think it wasn't really the model that people were seeing coming out. So, we did have some questions. Having that many people from the get-go really forced us to set in place structures that I don't know if we would have been as disciplined doing if we were just 2 of us or a few of us. But I think when I look back and I think of the different skill sets, we had creative and design and brand, product and marketing, leadership, finance, technology and engineering. And when you think of what we were creating and what we were setting out to do, there is no doubt that having depth across the range of those different skill sets is what helped us really set a really strong foundation for what we were creating, especially in the industry that we were in.
So what we did is we leaned into it by using the charter. We said, let's document how this structure could work, what could go wrong, and how to sort of preempt that. So Dave and I worked on the charter with the board around how we could actually make this work in practice. And that's around delineation responsibilities. I'm responsible for innovation, business, around finance, legal, operations and the like. And David's very much responsible for customer operations, sales and marketing and the product side. So being really, really clear on that, and then working with our executive and the senior leadership team, the rest of the organisation to say, hey, look, this is what we're responsible for. And then making sure that it's not just entirely bifurcated. When things come up in the sales marketing side in New Zealand, I lean in. I'm proximate, it makes sense. Equally, when there's technology investigational work that needs to be done in North America, Dave will lean in as well. So we're not sort of religiously in our areas, but we make it work by being very, very clear in responsibility, but then having each other's back and leaning in where we can to help support one another as well.
That trust doesn't happen overnight. And I think that thing about being brave and, leaning into sometimes the hard conversations that have to be had, And that I find helps everybody kind of calm, it almost like calms the situation down. If I can understand where somebody's coming from, allows me then to kind of change, maybe like going, oh, I know why that person said that, because X, Y, Z has happened in their life. It's not, that they're, attacking me or something like that. So it's that high trust.
We did things like before we started working together, we sat down and talked about what kind of business we were creating, and we talk about you can do things by design or by accident, and we had this really strong purpose, and we knew that actually how we were going to do this was really important to us too. We wanted to create a place that did amazing things and had an amazing impact, but was also a really great place to work, because I do see those things coming together and reinforcing each other. So yeah, we set in place, what do we really want to create here in our workplace? What do we want it to feel like to come to work? What do we want it to feel like for us, but for our team? And then what do we want to avoid? what are places that we've worked that maybe we thought actually we wouldn't do it like that? And we ended up coming up with our values, which are our values today, and have really helped us navigate growing our team.
We were lucky enough to have a lot of support from various people within our network, but absolutely in the start it was a real grind, trying to get it up and running, over facing challenges and hurdles. Reconnecting with Joe and Xavier after high school was really awesome. We were always close. We actually were in the same business class back in school, and we've kind of come full circle, and it feels really nice, and the environment's great. I think what's really kind of matured in all three of us over the time of doing this is our work ethic, and especially our ability to work together and to help each other out and overcome internal team hurdles.
The funny thing is, whenever we talk, and we talk daily, right? And I think almost like our marriage in a way, as long as you have great communication and talk often around what are we working on, what are the challenges in the organisation, and how we can divide and conquer on those, we haven't had disagreements. And that's what we found has been quite remarkable on it. We're prepared that things may not go well in terms of we have a charter and sort of very clear responsibilities, but we've found in practice, great communication, a very clear strategy of what we're trying to execute on, a great business plan, all of that helps shape things going well. What we do find is if there's an area one of us is more passionate than the other, we'll say defer, if there's a passion project Dave might have, I say just go for it, and I'll have less role. If I've got a passion project, Dave will say, Mark, you run with it as well. And that works really well, so we don't really get conflicts in the role at all.
We see a huge potential for this, not only in Auckland, but across New Zealand and potentially globally soon. At the moment we have been targeting Auckland, but the plan is over the next 12 months or so, we'll start to roll it out to the rest of New Zealand. And we're starting to already see users outside of Auckland, which is a really good sign that we're starting to get it out there more.
We have this amazing executive team that manages how we're actually executing and the decisions that come up along that way. And then we do really like to be in the detail. That means that we can understand, because we've had this kind of history of building Sharesies, we love to see how the product's evolving. We love to see, when we're embarking on new projects that might have a regulatory change. We want to be right in there and in the detail and really understanding that so we can help navigate those. We are really connected across the business, and I think the model allows us to do that. We have expanded our product a lot, our markets. We're in Australia and New Zealand. We are a wealth app. We also support businesses. We're also a technology company. And I think having three of us has allowed us to really grow and expand at a rate that we're able to, but we're able to actually manage that kind of speed and complexity at the same time. And I think, it comes back to having really strong alignment in what matters and why we're here and our purpose. And I think we all agree in the long-term vision of where we're trying to get to. We might take the leadership role in one particular area where we are that person that's going deep on that. For example, I lived in Australia last year, and that meant that I became really focused on the Australian business alongside, Sharesies as a whole, but I was kind of the one that you'd go to about Australia. And we kind of, make sure that something big that's going on in the business has one of us kind of over it as like the person that you go to for that thing.